Hey everyone, are you all excited for our December fun countdown to Christmas? I thought I'd come on and give you a quick little tutorial or just talk about some of the things that you're going to need or that things that might come up. And we'll do that throughout the month when we think new things come up. So hopefully you have either bought one of our wool kit is here. We have fabric kits. I only have the scrappy one with me. The solid one is just 3 fabrics. And then the background here. So if you purchased any of these things with us, you got the pattern free. If you have enough of all this other stuff and just want to purchase the pattern, that is available as well on our website. Countdown to Christmas, it is called. So I'll start first by gathering some of the notions that I'm going to use here today. So what I thought I would do is talk about cutting the 25 blocks first. You are getting the directions to cut the whole quilt out. Let me just think, what did I just do with mine? All right, might be over here. Maybe, maybe not. What did I do with them? I had them in my hand. Are they right there? No, what's that?
Nope.
In there? On the table right over there? Oh, I just made sure I had everything. Well, I could use these. This is funny.
How about if you talk about wool first?
Okay. Somebody find my patterns. There's a little stack of them. Maybe down by Terry. Did I bring up? Did I not go? Where she's eating lunch. I just probably didn't walk through and grab them. It's one of those days, you know. I got up. Okay, so first of all, did everybody have a good Thanksgiving weekend? I love Thanksgiving weekend. I think it's so much fun. And I put up all my Christmas decorations.
Get your green bean casserole.
I made my green bean casserole. As a matter of fact, I had some leftovers for lunch, and it was amazing.
It's one of those things that is
I changed the way I do it now. You know what I mean? So I heat up all the green beans, get them all nice and warm, and then pour my cream sauce over the top of them and serve it. I don't bake it in the cream sauce. Yeah, because it kind of goes away. You know what I mean? Like the cream kind of like, I don't know, it kind of disintegrates if you just heat it too much. So now I figured out how to do it and make it last. So then now when I reheat it, it's really good. All right. So is that where they were?
It was downstairs on the table, and it must be one of those days because when I went downstairs, your blade was wide open.
Not me. I didn't even use it yet. All right. So yay, here's the downloads. Okay. All right. So I have almost all my decorating. I don't have the tree up yet, but I do everything else. So I'll show you some pictures of that. It's totally different this year. It's more green with the red. Usually I do a lot of red and white or red and cream, but this year a lot of green with everything. All right. So if you didn't see it, behind us is the whole quilt, Countdown to Christmas. We are giving you reveals. If you watch these videos and hang out with us, you'll know what's going on. So today, is the download up and ready right now? No?
She was waiting for you.
Waiting for me. Okay. And you know how that is when you have like, a couple more seams on something that you're making and you really should get in the shower, but yet you really just want to finish. That's what it was, one of those mornings. All right, so let's just see here what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I have 5 of them here. I'm a little ahead of you guys. Okay, so our first block is the Merry Christmas block up in this corner here. Can we see that? All right, so my quilt is a little wrinkly because I am still stitching on my border vines here. So when you look at this, if you see it, if it looks like it was all crinkly, it's because it is, because I've been rolling it up to stitch. So our blocks are going to go in order. 1, 2, 3, 5 across, 5 rows. All right. So our first download that will be available right after this video or shortly. And you're doing a blog post today too as well?
Well, we already did a blog post, but the
the information page will be up after, as soon as I get those, or as soon as the buttons are active.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so this is our first block that we're going to do today, and I will demo some of that. And then you get block 2 as well, because it's actually December 2nd. So you got 2 blocks to work on today. Now I want to point out one of the things if you did buy our kit from us, like our downloads have the pieces and parts that you need on the patterns. You see that? All right. But if you bought our kit, what we did for you is here. This is my working copy, so don't look at my thing. But this is the size of your wool, and we put everything on here for every block that uses that color wool. All right, so this one just happens to be scarlet. So in our wool kit, you will pull out your piece of scarlet, and you will get a piece of fusible web that is exactly this size. Right here, you're going to cut that out. And then you will place that on your light box, and you will trace your fusible web on there. I'm not going to do all of them. Well, I should do all of them. I should make a whole nother quilt.
I need one for my house.
You do? Yeah. So anyways, I'm just going to show you this quickly. Hopefully this is all plugged in. I got my light box here. Can you go up above now so they can see this? Mm-hmm. So you can see how you see that right through the light box. You really don't need a light box for this.
It'll be hard for them.
Yeah, you can't really see it.
I can dull it down a little bit. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really matter because you can see it without the light too. But that's my suggestion. If you have this, is you're going to trace and prep all of your shapes for all 25 blocks all at once. Isn't that great that you get that ahead of time? All right. So.
What type of fusible web are you using?
Yep, I'm going to get to all that. I'm going to get to all that. All right. Keep asking questions. We'll make sure we don't miss any of it. All right. So I'm going to back up here a little bit, pull my kit back. All right. So you need your kits or whatever you need. I hope you have that. If you ordered late because you weren't going to do this, and then when I showed you it, then you decided you had to do it, we still have kits left. We still are shipping them out, right? Are we currently just keep going? Yeah. All right. So what I did is I grabbed a piece of the background, and I am going to just cut some of my 25 blocks for you first. But I do want to talk about prepping your fabric. You're going to want to starch your fabric. Now, I was trying to remember if I starched my background blocks, and what I think I did is I just gave them like a light starching. I didn't like totally saturate it like I normally do. But I just gave it a little bit of starch body, but I didn't do it like I normally do. So does that make sense? Because they're going to shrink a little bit, but I don't really like to starch my appliqué blocks because you really don't need to, because we're going to trim them down when we're done. We are going to cut 25 7-inch blocks, and then we're going to trim them to 6.5. Okay. So I'm going to cut a few of them right now. I have this fabric is actually really starched. So here's my ruler. This is why we were late, because I couldn't find a ruler. And then now I'm using someone's that isn't mine. All right, so I just want to point out too, this is what you want to use for starch. And then just a reminder that when you use this can, like there's a red dot right here, and you need to point that nozzle to that red dot. And that makes sure that the can will empty out of starch when you do that. And if you need a starch tutorial, you can look at one that we have online. Kaylee's going to link one in the description here for you. All right, so I need a bunch of 7-inch squares. So we need 25. So we need 5 strips. Yes, we need 5 7-inch strips. I have my fabric folded in half twice here. So it looks confusing because I don't have enough room here to work on everything. So I'm just going to put my ruler on 7 inches. And remember, we're going to trim down so it doesn't have to be, oh, I got to stand up and cut. I don't have the strength I used to, huh? All right, so 1, let's see how many I can get out of this piece here quickly. 2. All right, so I got this many here, and then I'm going to lay them this way. So those of you who have the directions will tell you, and you can do all of the cutting, or you can just cut a piece right now to start and do your blocks when you have more time to do more cutting. But you got to cut the 25 blocks first. So then I'm just going to trim the salvage off and then go to 7 and do. Now we'll only be trimming off about 1/4 inch all the way around your block. So you don't have a ton of room. So that's why you're going to want a light box for when you lay out your pieces. Okay, let's see if we can get, how many of you should be able to get, hopefully, I bet you have to do more than 6 because the solids aren't quite 44 inches, I don't think. So I'm not getting 1 more extra like you would on the other fabrics. All right, but that's easily how fast you can do your 7-inch blocks. So I have a bunch of them to get going there. All right, so you need a nice long ruler, preferably the 8x24 that we can't find anywhere around here. That's why we were late coming on. All right, so I got those quickly cut. Then a couple other things, as long as we want to talk about tools and stuff like that. All right, I got some threads that I'm using, but these aren't all of them. Set that over there. My wool kit. All right, so tweezers. You're going to watch me use these tweezers. Really good here, the Martelli tweezers. All right, so that's what they look like from the top. So they have super, super sharp points. Like you literally just can touch what you need to pick up. And it always has this plastic thing on there, but I lose that thing every time. Every time. I'm so bad at keeping track of that. And then you're going to want a white clover marking pen. And this is to like mark onto your wools. You're going to want something to trace onto your block with. So that could be just a regular, I have David's pencil here from Jessica over there. I'm like, I need a pencil, but any like mechanical pencils work too. And then you're going to need 24 and 22 chenille needles. You're going to use your threads. We do have a thread list out there. All right, you're going to need a nice little scissors. Scissors for cutting. All right, and then fusible web. The kind I use the most is this one right here. Heat and Bond Feather Light. Not just light. All right, we want light. And then you're going to want, for these border vines, you're going to want Steam Seam 2 Light for those. And I'll do another video on that. All right, but a little bit at a time so you can get going. All right, so I'm going to get my pattern for my first block. Is there any questions on any of that stuff?
I know you were talking about the threadless. There's the roller.
Yeah, I mean,
Can't really help that, but
yeah, I know Jess just placed a big order again. So one of the things I want to talk about is when you do this, get everything prepped first. I mean, just work on getting everything and then stitch. And if you're missing a thread, look in your box, see if there's something else that will work. The only time I don't suggest substituting is if I say, use a number 5 for these letters. All right, you're going to want that 5-weight thread, or you're going to use 6 strands of floss or something like that. You want a really nice heavy thread for the letters on the quilt. So I hope that makes sense. Now, when you print out your download, I printed mine double-sided, but you're not going to want to do that, okay? Because I want to see this through, which isn't so bad. I can, but if possible, save yourself some time and don't run them back to back.
Alicia's on. She says hello.
Who?
Alicia.
Alicia's on. Awesome. I'm still working on this border, Alicia. Oh, I'm super obsessed with this.
You love it.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite flavor?
Cherry.
Cherry.
Cherry. Gotta have that. That's essential as well.
Someone's asking, are people going to have this done by Christmas?
Mm-mm. I'm sure some people will, but you don't have to. I mean, it's just about working on Christmas stuff at Christmas time and just,
Have it done for next Christmas.
and just having the fun of it. I'm hoping I have mine done by Christmas. No, I don't know if it'll be quilted though. I haven't decided what I want to do about the quilting. All right, so those are the tools. And then, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one of my blocks here and I am going to lay it. All right, I'm going to try to work overhead now here. I don't know if we can see this. So when we did this, we gave you the 1/4 inch and the finish line. All right, so we gave you all of that in here. So just know that the finish blocks is 6 inches. So kind of center your block onto your light box. Now all I'm going to do is take my pencil and I'm going to draw in this vine because it's stitched. And then the lines with the berries on. Like so. And then I'm going to trace these letters. Right in the middle. Because I'm only going to stitch them once. Now don't use a friction pen. Because as soon as you iron on your appliques, it'll go away. The heat takes away the friction. And if you don't have a nice light box, it might be something you might want to put on your Christmas list. And I have a blog post that has my favorite one linked to it. Remember which one that was, Heidi? Or maybe,
I can try to dig it up.
yeah, they'll find it for you and put it in the. But if you use my link, I might make $1 off of $300 light box. All right. Look how simple that is. Oh, can you see it? I'll hold it here so she can zoom in. See how I have that all set? You guys are going to love doing this. I tell you.
I'll throw a link for that light box in the comments right now.
Yep,
Or for the blog post.
for the blog post, yeah.
That was a regular pencil.
This is David's kindergarten pencil. That's exactly what it is. So don't get all crazy about pencil or what do you got to use. Yeah. David is Jessica's little boy. All right, so I am looking for the deeper red here. Just want to show you if you have the kit, which one you're going to pick. Maybe. Raspberry, right here. So, oh, I thought Scarlet is the one I need. I had it earlier, I think. This one. All right. So what I would do is I'd put this whole piece of paper on there. This is my fusible web. And you're going to do paper side up. And you're going to trace this whole thing on there. But I only need the one flower. Where is it? That guy right there. Appliqué, block 1. Is it right there? No. Right there it is.
Isn't it right next to it? Isn't it?
Oh, right there it is. Okay. It didn't look the same. All right. So I'm just going to squeak that out right now. I'm not going to do that one. I'm just going to do this one quickly or like this because you don't want to watch me trace all of that. You're just going to trace it with a marker or a pencil. And grab your scissors. Cut that out. But remember, if you have this sheet, do all that prep work at once. It's going to make it so much easier. I'm going to shut this off now that I'm going to need it in a minute. All right, so this was raspberry. It's going on this one here. I'm going to lay that on my piece there. Hopefully I won't screw up my cutting it all out. So when you do this, you don't need any steam, but you want lots of heat, high heat, and you always want to keep that moving. All right, I'm just going to cut that out like that. And this is fun because all it has is this one wool applique on here. Now I'm going to cut it out on the line. And all of our appliques have been reversed for fusible web, if you didn't know that. So there, I cut it out on the line. All right, here's my block. All right, lay that over there. Put this down, lay my block back on there, and I'm going to, so when you have lots of these little shapes, when you have all these little berries, all those little leaves, you're gonna always pick this up and then pull the paper off like that, using this to do that. And then you can put it exactly where it needs to go. And it's not symmetrical, so you can just find what place it looks best, right there. And then I lay that on my mat, and then you're going to use steam now. So I'm going to purge my iron, and now I'm going to fuse that down, always keeping my iron moving and steaming that on. All right, there you go. This block is prepped and ready for stitching. Now I want to show you about the stitching on here, and I'm going to do the letters, and I'll do a letter, and then I'll do the blanket stitch around here, and then maybe we can do a fly stitch for the other stitch that's in there. All right, and I don't think, let me see, yep, I just used knots. Okay. So do we have any questions on the prep before we go on to stitching? You guys are all old pros by now. I know it, right? I feel like you're all good at this. Okay, so which green did I use? H202, that's this one. So there's two greens that I use that go with our wools. One has a little bit more yellow cast to it and one doesn't. All right, are you gonna get up here and nice and close? All right, so I'm gonna take the eye of the needle and I'll park it right on the center of my thread, and I'm gonna push down, and then I'm gonna move my, maybe, move my finger. And then when you do that, it goes into the eye. So, and again, if you didn't see that, we have lots of videos that show you how to do that. Now, when you want to put a knot on the end, cross over your needle, wrap 1, 2, 3, or 2. This is really thick thread, pull it through. So see, and wherever you cross, that's where your knot is. Remember to always clip your tails really good. Okay, I'm going to stitch the Y here first. Oh, I'm going to stitch that. All right. Is this looking good, Kaylee? I'm just going to start at the bottom of my letter, and I'm going to pull it around, and I'm going to pull back. Move my thumb out of the way. I can tip this way. Is that look good? And I'm going to come back about 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going to stitch to that previous hole. And then I swing this around. Now, when you do these little letters, make sure you don't do too big of stitches. Right around 1/8 of an inch. And when you get to the points and the curve in the indents, make sure you even take smaller stitches. So I'll just keep stitching here so you can kind of watch how that goes. All right. When I get to the top here now, I'm going to take like the tiniest little stitch I can. And then I'm going to turn. And then I'm going to take another really teeny tiny stitch. And then come down. So those tiny stitches where you change direction are very important. Don't do a big 1/8 inch stitch there. So see how I'm coming down now? And you always want to throw your stem stitch counterclockwise, no matter what. Even if you're right or left-handed, don't matter. Always throw it that way. And then what's going to happen is your stem stitch is going to look like a nice braided rope. So right in the indent of the M, I'm going to make another little tiny stitch, pivot, make a nice little, another little tiny stitch going the other way. Almost like a little knotting stitch. And then I'm going to go about 1/8 of an inch then, back up. And I have some really good stem stitch videos as well, if you want to see just the stitch, but take in account too how we do these little points. All right, then one more again up here, tiny, tiny stitch. Now, I do want to point out, if I was at home, I'd be sitting in my nice chair and I would have a pillow on my lap. So my arms, instead of resting on this table, would be resting on that pillow, and my back would be in the chair. And that's how I can stitch for a long time. I would not be able to stitch for a long time in this chair on this table. So I'll quick stitch down the M. And then you can see how nice this goes. And you will love stem stitching words. I didn't think I would. I used to just ink them in on the quilt. Now I stitch them all. So it's about evolution sometimes as a quilter. I did words to live by, and I would never have dreamed of stitching all those words. I just inked them in with a permanent magic marker or a really nice high-end magic permanent pen. All right, so now I'm going to end, and I always like to make sure that my stitching is kind of even, but sometimes you'll get one leg that's a little bit longer than the other. All right, so now to end, I'm just going to go and slip through one of the stitches and create a loop. Then I'm going to go through that loop once, and then you could do twice, and that'll pull that right down, and that knot will not come out. So now I can clip it pretty close. You don't want to have big tails sticking out underneath, because when the batting goes under, you will see all of those threads. And you don't want to jump from this one, from the M to the E. Always want to end off on each letter. All right, y'all can do that, right? See how quickly we just did that? So I'm going to park that needle in there. And now to do a blanket stitch, I'm going to start off with the 12 weight on the little appliques. So thick thread, big shapes or big lettering. Fine thread is small shapes and really fine lines. This is a 24 chenille needle that I'm going to use for this. Okay, same thing. I just parked that little eye on there, press down, move everything. And you see how that goes right in there? Here, wait. And I can just pull it through. Put a knot in the end. And you can clip knots when you're done too. You can go back and make sure you didn't leave any tails. So now when you blanket stitch, you want to always start in the background on the top of the shape. I'm going to kind of turn a little bit so it's almost like if you're kind of behind me. All right, so I'm going to come up, swing this thread and go straight down and straight up, right in that same spot. So it's kind of like straight down and straight up. And then I'm just going to move over and start blanket stitching all the way around, just tiny little stitches.
Can you stop for a second and move your thumb?
No, I can't move my thumb. That's part of it,
So
right?
see, yeah.
So, and then I kind of pull my thumb around like that and hold on to it.
There you go.
Okay. So it's like always having the tension on your thread. I know it's hard to see because it's red on red, but that's what we want. All right, so can you get me close up? I'm going to show them how to end.
That's as close as I can get.
All right, so now let's pretend like we ran out of thread. So what you do is you move forward and you park the needle right next to your stitch going forward, but right next to it. And you flip to the back side. And here, you're going to take a little bite on the inside of your shape, make that loop, go through once, go through twice. And then you can even bury your tail too, and then clip it nice and close. Okay, then you would rethread your needle. Okay, now you want to go backwards. All right, you got me? I'm watching. Hopefully you can see this. So I'm going to go under the top stitch and to the right of the last stitch. So you're kind of like in that 90-degree corner right there. I don't know, good enough. And then you just keep moving forward.
Are you going counterclockwise?
I go counterclockwise. I am right-handed, so I go counterclockwise. If you are right or left-handed, you should be going the other way around. If you've been taught to go clockwise and you're really good at it, just do it. It's okay. But to me, it's not ergonomically correct. You could probably be a little bit more faster and a little bit more efficient if you stitch the other way around. So I'll just kind of stitch normal speed here for you so you can kind of see how fast it goes. It's kind of awkward because I'm trying to let you see as much as possible. All right, so like if you get a little hairy thing on your wool like that, you can always just take your scissors and clip that right off. If you got a looser woven wool.
How do you prevent your thread from twisting?
Well, there's a couple ways. I just kind of muscle through it if you really want to know. But sometimes you can always let your thread dingle and it'll unravel that way. I don't believe there's like any thread conditioner or anything that you can use for pearl cotton. So now I am right back to the start. So I'm just going to go to the other side of my start and complete the top there. So then now it's completely done. Flip to the back side, go in there, take a little stitch, pull my loop, not too tight, once, twice, slide down, clip, clip. All right. First one's going to be easy. So, do you want me to keep going and do a couple more of these stitches? I can do, I believe, I'm going to use the other thread.
Do you fray check your wool before you stitch?
I do not. Our wools are usually really nice and super tight. Once in a while, and that little thread was actually not even attached. I just wanted to show you that if your wool did get a little fuzzy, what you do to clip it. But I find that I really don't need to fray check. The only time I fray check is usually like if I'm doing like little small snowflakes and they're on a really light like textured wool, then I will fray check those because you don't see it too. Because sometimes if you use fray check, it'll frost a little bit on your edges. Yeah, it's just something that can happen, but you just don't try not to use so much. I'm going to thread my needle again here. And I'm going to show you how to do a fly stitch. So you notice how I did not mark. You see that's how I did not mark these in here. You can if you want, but then you have to hit them exact. Now I don't believe we have to be exact. So I'm just going to start here on the edge of my line. I guess I need a knot. That's okay. Kaylee was adjusting anyways, right? All right, so I'm going to start right here on this line. And this is a fly stitch. I'm going to go down onto the stem and I'm going to shoot out like at a 45-degree angle. And then I'm going to cross over and I'm going to go to the bottom of the stem and over the thread. So I'm going to create a V. So the first stitch I make makes the stem. So the first stitch is the stem. So this is the stem. See that? Made the stem. The second stitch, which is cross over and angle down over the thread, that makes the V. So see how fun that is? And easy. And like I said, I'm trying to hold it so you can see the best. So it looks like I don't hang on really good here, but so that stitch up and to the left makes the stem. Insert and go down to the stem and over the thread, that makes the V. All right, I'll just finish this up now.
So do the knots on the back ever pose problems for the Bernina Q series machines?
No.
Long arms.
No, because you have batting behind this, and if there's a knot in there, it'll just squish into the batting. I've never had any of those issues at all. But good question. Now for the center of this little flower, all I did is a stem stitch. I outlined a circle and I just stem stitched into the middle. So I just went around and went right into the middle with the yellow thread.
Is there any double stitching on this project?
I don't think so. Mean like one next to another? Is that what that means?
I would think so.
Double stitching? No, not really. It doesn't look like it to me. And it's okay if it looks a little wonky until you give it a big head of steam when you're done with it, and right before you trim it up. All right, so then I don't have a brown, but I think there's a brown thread that does this little stem and then a colonial knot on the end. I can show you a colonial knot, or you could do colonial knots in the middle. Let's do that. Let's do something different than the directions. Oh no. Oh, let's not follow the directions. You don't have to, you know. There's no laws. Just because I do something one way doesn't mean you have to. So instead of going, so on this one, I just went and stem stitch through the middle. This one, this one is a 8-weight thread. I'm going to double it. And I'm going to just put a bunch of knots in the middle of this one. Are there any pillows around here? Hang on 1 second. I need a pillow. Yeah, can you grab that one? Oh, or this cute one. All right. This is how I like to work, right here.
And the quilt right over all the wool.
Yep. Unless I do custom, which I don't know if I want to wait that long. We'll see. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple colonial knots. I'm going to try to get this so you can see it. All right, we're going to go close up again, Kaylee. All right. So I'm going to kind of turn again to the side so you can see how this works. All right, I'm going to take one line is my thread, the other is my needle, and I'm going to hop over the other thread with my needle and go under and then turn it. So it's over, under, twist, over, under, twist. And don't hold this so tight that you can't get under it, and hold the eye of your needle. See how much room I have to work with? I'm not holding it like this. Back up. All right, so I'm going to go over, under, twist, and I'm going to do 1, 2. Let's just do 2 because I got double thread here. So then I poke that knot in there, and then I need to pull it really tight on the needle. That's the most important thing. And then you put tension, you hold on to that so it doesn't slide anywhere, and then you pull this through. And then it creates the prettiest knots you're ever going to make. So I'm going to maybe do 1 and then do like, I don't know, 6, 7 of them around that one. And just bunch them up so they make a nice little center poinsettia here on this little flower on our Merry Christmas block. Pull it tight. Whoops. You okay?
Yep. You always double the thread?
No, I don't always double the thread. If I had a 5-weight thread, I wouldn't have to double it. If I have a 12-weight thread, yeah, I would for sure double that one too, because it means you have to wrap less because I have a thick thread. Because you could do 1 and just kind of experiment and see what size you need. There's no like a right or wrong way to do this, but the more you do it, the more comfortable you will get with, you know. And sometimes I'll have one in there that has 1 wrap, and then I'll be like, oh, I really think I should wrap twice, and I don't take that one out. I just keep going because nothing in nature is perfectly symmetrical. All right, so do you see how instead of doing a stem stitch in a circle, I just did, I don't know how many knots here. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 knots. Okay. And then I'm just going to bury my tail in that background and underneath that wool. Okay. I'm excited. Now then, if you are going to do block 2, I'm going to find my block 2 down here. I think it's down here. Nope, it's right here. Okay. Block 2. 3, 4, 2. All right. So here is block 2. Here are your applique shapes. So you're going to do this exactly the same way as I just showed you. You're going to trace, and then you're going to put your leaves and your berries down on top of the heart, and you're going to fuse that all down. And then you're going to use your white marking pen to draw on that heart. So I want to talk a little bit about this marking pen. So this is liquid chalk. It's not dry chalk, and that's what makes it different. So when you pull this off, and you can see that it's actually shiny. And when you mark, so let's say this is our heart, and when you mark on it, you want to do a light touch, and you want to go back and forth. And then you want to give it a minute to dry. And I find that if the wools are more textured, it takes a little bit for it to really show up. Like if I did a line on this one and a line on this one, it's going to read totally different, because this one has a little bit of a herringbone in the background and this one doesn't. So that one shows up a lot better. But then once they dry after a couple minutes, then they become really brighter. And the best thing about this is once it's dried, it doesn't brush off. So no matter what, you if you were using regular chalk, by the time you got one letter stitched, all the other letters would be gone, because your hands and it'll just make that chalk go away. So you can kind of see how it's brightening up here a little bit. I'm going to blow on it. All right. I'm going to make it hard for her. So see how it's whitening up a little bit? Well, we'll just leave it sit here for a little bit, and then I'll bring them up to the camera. All right, so did I bring the cutting? Maybe not. All right, Heidi, got any questions?
Do you need triangle papers for this quilt?
You're going to need, yes, 2-inch. Next week, we're going to put that clue out. So how this is going to go is each Monday, you're going to get a clue. The first one is the cutting. So you're going to have all the cutting. The second one will be half square triangles. The third one will be this unit right here. So it's a rectangle with these 2 stitch and flip corners on. And then the fourth clue is putting it all together, because that's the only 2 units you have. It's very simple to go together. You will be making some, it goes together in rows. All right. Any other questions on anything that we want to talk about or do some more on?
What is the size of the finished quilt?
84 by 84. You don't have to put a border on it. I think it would look fabulous without the border. So if you didn't put the border on, you're probably looking at like 74. I think there's a 5-inch border on that. One of the other things that you might want to grab, you're not going to need it right away, but if you're placing an order or looking, is the stem cutting ruler. So this is a ruler that's going to cut 3/16. So every one of these lines on here is a 3/16 apart. And it makes it super fast for cutting your vines for your borders. Very efficient. Instead of just cutting one, picking that one up, placing your ruler back down, this one you'll be able to put it on, 15 and cut, and just keep sliding it over and doing that. All right.
Do you want to talk a little bit about?
Are you mic'd up?
It's right there.
Okay.
So,
I just wanted to know if I had to repeat your question.
No, you're good. People are asking when they're going to receive their patterns, because we have not emailed them.
We haven't.
Yet.
Yeah, we haven't put it out there yet. So after this, we're going to let them go,
You
okay?
just need a chance to get down there and give your stamp of approval, and then.
Yep,
then
yep,
go. So
yep.
by 5 today, obviously, but before
Yep.
that.
After we're done here today, give us a little bit and they will be ready to go. We just wanted to give you a little heads up, a couple little tips to get started in case you're a new person here with us, and we want to make sure that you are successful. Because when you invest in these types of projects, we want you to make sure that everything is good. Okay? All right. I have an old pair of glasses on and I can't read the comments.
So you just kind of feel. Will you be showing how to cut the stems in
Yep.
a future video?
Yep. So next week I'll do a half square triangle video. The week after that, I'll show you how to do stitch and flip. Oh, and you might want these. So we sell these as well. You're going to want a stitch and flip guide on your machine because I don't draw any lines on my fabric. This is what I use. So we sell these. I think there's a pack of 7 of them for $5, and you can cut them however you need to fit your bed of your machine or any of that kind of stuff. All right, anything else?
We had a couple questions about different topics.
That's okay. All right, if we're done, if you have something else comes up, I do have a couple little announcements to make too. Jess has something for me to show you about, what is it, Cyber Monday today, or what is it called?
Yep,
Cyber Monday.
Sorry, can you pull it back?
Yeah, we because we are closed on Friday and Saturday, we just do Cyber Monday. So we have this cute little free pattern for you if you place any order today. And isn't this fun? Another cute little project that you can make as a gift or keep for yourself. And you can do these in multiple colors like we did, or this can be like red, this could be green, this could be red again too. You can do your own thing as well, but here's stem stitching letters now that you know how to stem stitch. There we go.
And we do have kits available on the website as well.
Okay.
And if they cannot download and they would prefer a printed pattern, we do have that as a discounted price as well.
Okay, good job.
Where can they find them on the web? What's it called so that they can look it up?
It's right under what's new on the homepage, or it's called Words of Christmas, I think it's called. So if you could just type in words, it'll come up for you.
All right. See, they got that all under control for you. Now, again, if you are watching and you did not, here, look at how nice and bright these are now. It doesn't show up on my screen really good, does it? No. Because this even looks orange on my screen. But this is definitely nice and really easy to see. It's because we're flooding light on here and it's hard to see that way. But trust me, it works really good. And then when you put this cap on your pen, make sure you click it nice and tight because it's liquid. So make sure, put that right by my microphone, right? Watch. Okay. All right. So those little tips will get you started on blocks 1 and 2 today, and look for 3 on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And then on Friday, is Friday the 5th?
Friday's the 6th.
Okay. So I had a little schedule, but I don't know what I did with it.
So Friday is going to be 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah. So Friday, you're going to get block 6, 7, and 8. And that's going to continue like that. On Friday, you will always get Friday, Saturday, and Sunday's blocks. And then on Mondays, you're going to get a clue to move forward in either your piecing or any of that kind of stuff. Okay? All right. So we talked about the Cyber Monday. Anything else that I was supposed to talk about? We are going to still have a live on Thursday.
Yeah. I do want to say that we may have a comment sold tonight. If I can get back here. We were going to do it at 1 o'clock, but I didn't know you had this scheduled. So, but if we do a comment sold, then yes, you will get the free download as well on comment
Perfect.
sold.
That works, right? You guys are so awesome. You love your comment sold. I love comment sold. That's so fun. Okay. All right. So again, I'm going to trace all of these now in the big sheets. So when we get all these blocks as we go, as they get released, then you'll be ready to put them onto each one of your blocks. But one of the things we need to agree on, all right? How many of you let everybody else rob your time from you? All right? Are you one of those that say, oh, I don't have time to stitch. I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm babysitting and I'm watching my grandkids and I'm walking the dog and whatever. All right, so if you want to be able to stitch more, figure out what time you're going to allow each day on your calendar, because you know your days might change, mine change. So I can't say I'm going to stitch every morning for 2 hours. I can't do that, right? But every day, if you look at your calendar and find a spot and pencil yourself in like it's an appointment, give yourself that gift of time to stitch or to prep. All right. So as long as at the end of this, you have 25 blocks prepped, you do not know how much easier that is to get this project done when you have stuff prepped. And then when you're going off to sewing, you just grab that bin and you go with it and your threads and your needles and your scissors, and you can go anywhere and stitch. And make sure I use a beam and read light when I am not in a well lighted area. So sometimes if I'm watching a movie on the couch, I will have my beam and read light too as well. And that really helps me see really good because they're all LED lights and I can see very well. And I know now how much harder it is to see as we get a little older, and especially when you're not wearing your latest prescription glasses. But so yeah, if you want to stitch this, make sure you give yourself each time, set aside each time every day to prep and to get your blocks ready to go. And then I guarantee you it'll be a lot easier to get this project done. All right, so double pinky swear that you're going to tell everybody that this is from 6 to 8 is my time to stitch. You do not get to steal my time from me. All right. Okay, so if there's no other questions, Heidi, before we...
People are asking where they can get the thread list from, and what I can do is that information page I keep mentioning is going to be going up this afternoon at some point. As soon as everything is approved, I can also include a thread list on that page.
All right. So we are going to have a major blog post today with the kickoff to this stitch along, and Heidi will include the thread list on that page as well for you to easily print them. And just FYI, I used all 3 sizes of 0775. And yes, I use all 3 sizes of them. Do you need all of them? No, you don't. You can figure out how to get around it, but you know, you're going to be doubling threads. Might use a little bit smaller thread than maybe what I used, but it's okay, right? At the end of the day, just got to be happy with what it looks like. All right. If you put too wimpy of a thread on a big piece of wool, you know, the embroidery stitches always look better with 8s or 5s. I'm going to tell you that right now. So you can double your 12, but you're going to go through your thread much faster when you're doubling it all the time. So keep that in mind as well. Okay. So I don't think I have anything else left for you. You're going to go, we'll get this download ready for you, and you can get stitching today or prepping or whatever that looks like for today. All right, everyone, we'll see you back here on Thursday. All right, so 1 o'clock, I'll be here. Take care, everyone.